My name is Couch Coop and I review single-player local co-op video games. We're going to be looking at South of Midnight. This is actually a Microsoft Xbox exclusive available on Game Pass. I get it on my PC and it launched in Ultra. What a compliment for the little GTX 1660. This game is not without controversy. If you hop onto any social media platform, you'll see there's some contrasting reviews because it is one of the Sweet Baby Inc. last of consultancy projects. Does it get in the way of much? We'll find out. What is this game actually like? What's the gameplay like? Should we start worrying about that? Might be an idea. And I will say, homework for this week is got to be Paranorman, Coraline, Box Trolls, and the amazing Two Strings. I think you'll all notice what that theme is there. And I was very impressed with the stop frame. Absolutely gobsmacked at the cutscenes. It doesn't work too well on the protagonist and stuff in engine. It looks like the frames are dropping, but it's a very cool angled take with a video game. Big fan. Set in the deep south. You would never guess. They're not trying to run this theme home as hard as humanly possible. But that is not a bad idea. And video games don't normally take in regional cultural aspects like this. So it's quite refreshing. Not enough crocodiles though. That is coming up. The Sweet Baby Inc. detected crew would tell you to avoid this. If someone I don't know and is of little authority tells me not to do something, I'm very likely to look into why and probably do that thing. I think Avowed sailed very close to the wind with that, and loads of people missed out on an incredible action RPG from Obsidian because of that mixed reception from the aforementioned grifters. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with grifting in that respect. The algorithm absolutely loves it, and you'll see these users and creators with larger audiences. It's kind of a buzz theme at the moment. This is going to sound crazy, but I would rather find out if the video game's any good. I know, I'm thinking. I think what's worth talking about is the game's model. Essentially, this is a third-person role-playing game with platforming and with some combat mixed in. Neither of those two are its main theme, so to speak. It does focus on quite a lot of storytelling and meeting different characters, but this goes right up against something like Kenna Bridge of Spirits, which is actually a Sony technical exclusive. I think it's available through Steam. It is one ridiculously competitive and prickly market for that game model. You've got Zelda standing right in front of you also technically on this section of gaming, but that is full-blown open world, and that's one thing I did want to mention. Tries to make you think that you're wandering around a beautiful creative environment, but in actual fact it is extremely linear, down to the water not even being able to be accessed, which was a bit of a downturn for me. So I'm like super dubious about how this combat's gonna turn out because I'm like Mr. Stellar Blade and Wukong at the moment. No pressure South of Midnight. It actually performs very well, and it also incorporates the stop frame animation into the enemies. Some really good little black particles bouncing off things, and it does look very corrupted. You've got, again, extremely similar theme with Kenna and the natural environment having some sort of hive-like miasmic corruption attached. There's a nice little dodge roll button there, even a reward for timing that right, and you get given a little bit of range, a pull in, a push away, and you're using this magic weave tool to sort of bind up certain enemies for a particular amount of time, but things open up a bit more on that front. You do get a jump which feels a little bit redundant, but there's a slam on it, so combat's up there with everything else. It's just not exceptional. Because I think it's not the game's main show, I think this aesthetic is, the soundtrack, the awesome art, and the way they've almost painted this map. It looks absolutely brilliant. but I want to make sure the message is, as someone who's very experienced in this third-person action area, this isn't terrible at all, and actually I quite look forward to the encounters. But we do need to see a little bit more enemy variety. That does come slightly later, but not enough at the start.
You mean to tell me your mama never told you stories about critters and weavers?
The cutscenes look and feel so good that I could easily have this as a out-and-out like Netflix film where it's just exploring really cool Deep South mythos, and the characters are actually quite funny, and the music does shine through. It's all original, written for the game as well. There is clearly production here, good production. Let's talk about the platforming stuff and sort of leveling up, skill trees, how much meta is there behind this ARPG action. Just before we do that, check out this pan. Now there was loads of me that wanted to jump off that cliff and sort of spread some wings, Rise of the Ronin style, and sort of fly to a little island, maybe attack and kill something, but you are really stuck, you're really bolted down, and the game constantly gives you a reminder of that by putting you at loads of height and showing you this amazing looking world.
What the heck?
So you get your standard jump, then you get your double jump, and then you get an air dash, which is super handy for getting over the larger gaps, and of course some of it can be used in the combat. You also get this L2 hook winch over to another grapple point. It's almost identical to that one in Flintlock. See that little crocodile down there? Absolutely gutted I can't fight him. You can't even jump in the water and hit him over the head. Nothing. So you have like a memory thing on items. You can sort of bring them into reality, a little bit like Akami actually. The same goes for like an enemy arena. When that's all done with, you get a cool cutscene of the sort of green grass coming back. There are some parallels with that absolutely epic video game. There are environmental puzzles in and around, and upgrading your skill set does rely on finding things called floofs, I shit you not. The force push and pull are also used to pull down doors or knock down some wood, so you're kind of looking for a prompt point in a lot of the environments. It's not rocket science, and I'm quite welcome to easy puzzles, to be fair. You also have a little click in, go this way hint, which is actually quite a godsend for someone like me who's trying to rattle through this game as quick as possible. But again, it's not open world, so you're not technically going to get lost. And that's kind of the theme with this game. Damn, has it got your hand held tight. Tight as hell. It's actually losing blood. Maybe things loosen up a bit, but they didn't in my 4 or 5 hours. And also, I didn't come up to a boss until way later than I imagined, and that is prompted on all of its PR material. Big awesome creatures that you fight. It turns out there's actually only 3 major boss fights in the game, full stop. You can also spawn in or spawn into a little helper dude who reminds me of that sack guy in Nightmare Before Christmas. I think he might be from Louisiana, don't quote me. So we've got more stuff to fiddle around with if we're faced with a puzzle or with combat. You can actually throw this dude over to some enemies. So I've got all of my buttons allocated here. I've got the weave on L2, I've got little sack dude on R1, and I've got push and pull on the triggers, so I am all guns blazing. By the way, I haven't died yet. I haven't died in combat at all. I've jumped off a platform into some water by accident, but I certainly haven't had something kill me. I think that may be due to me being a hardened Souls-like fan and ARPG expert. I think the difficulty is probably pitched about right. I'd like some feedback on that. The ARPG expert comment I meant.
You ain't sleep. I see you. Can I get you over there?
So by this point, I'm like, gimme the croc, gimme a boss, anything that is going to be massive and difficult. And sure enough, he does turn out. But get this, it's more of a set-piece fight. It's kind of quite spoiler. It's got more to do with Jonah and the Whale than it has with the Souls game. And I think that might be why I'm misdiagnosing this game's problems, essentially, is because it's not anything to do with that genre of game. But it is wanting to be a decent ARPG with some combat, and I think they could have done a bit more one-to-one with a lot of those boss situations. as a vibe, as aura, I think that's what the kids say now, it totally works. And you'll know if this is your thing or not. And you may have played Ken Bridge of Spirits. I'd say this is about 60% of that game, but 60% of the really good stuff. Xbox and Microsoft don't really have a Ken Bridge of Spirits, essentially, so this is kind of perfect for that slot. Would you march out and buy this physical at top-end retail costs? Hell, brother, no. Would you look at it on a cheaper subscription service like Game Pass? Hell, brother, yes. And I am enjoying that. It is perfect to dip in and out of, and I'm having fun getting to that second boss. Graphically, over on the Microsoft side, I cannot think of a prettier game in this genre. Moving slightly at verticals, maybe Ori and the Blind Forest, you know, the Willow and the Wisp stuff. It's that magical with how it feels. So in order of greatness for those three pretty huge Game Pass Day 1 releases we just saw go past, in reverse order it would go this as number 3, South of Midnight, then of course Avowed, which I completely love and still play, and then the mighty Atomfall, which I will link in description, which again doing something very different but still staying in that first person apocalyptic dystopian canon. It's a great game, and I am due a PS5 review of it on the channel, so please stay tuned. I was Couch Cube, and I will see you down there.
Oh, shit! You can body snatch Hank?